in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York, Lake Placid, double Winter Olympic venue. And the snow of the week has returned here as we get ready for the second and deciding heat of the opening race in the Viessmann Men's Skeleton FIBT World Cup. Good afternoon, everybody. Martin Haven alongside me, US Olympian Bree Schaff, watching the action. Well, the big story from the first heat was A, the speed of Sun Bin Young of Korea, and then B, his disqualification for leaving the starting blocks before he should have. He was fourth fastest, but Thomas Ducours lies in third place.
Matt Antoine coming out and showing what a phenomenal offseason he had after winning an Olympic bronze medal. True to form on his home track. Great run, great downtime.
Antoine in a very strong position between the two Ducours brothers. But last year's World Cup champion Martin Ducours is the man with the slender lead after the first of our two heats. The medals are likely to go to those top three sliders, but in which order still remains to be decided. So here's how they stand after the first of our two heats. Both heats count. The field of 26 athletes cut to 20 to go into the second heat, and they go in reverse order. Top three covered by 1500s, but look at the big gulf back to fourth place Kyle Tress and the rest of the field. A lot of very close battles, though, in the order. We could see a lot of changes. Joe Caccini of Italy will be the first man on the ice, and the race first heat leader Martin Ducours will be last to go when we return.
Final forerunner sled before the second heat of the men's World Cup skeleton
winter
race.
wonderland here in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. It's minus 4 degrees, but that temperature is rising as the snow comes down. Ice remains a constant -5, and Bree Schaff, with the covering they have all the way around this track, Alino and the track crew here have got this in stunning condition for the racing. Well, here you see our second heat start list. Joe Caccini of Italy will be first away, a rookie, as is Barrett Martineau of Canada. And then getting down to the fast guys. Top 20 go in reverse order. Both heats count. Total elapsed time. The least that is taken to get down will be the winner. So it's not one single fast run. You've got to produce the two quickest runs. And that is what Martin Ducours has made a habit of. There's brother Thomas up at the top of the track on the starting dock, getting ready, warming themselves up. And this is all part of the vital countdown to your run, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, the second warm-up is just as important as the first. You might have gotten the jitters out of the way, but you need to be ready.
Interesting little look here to Joe Caccini's visor. Has he actually fogged up the bottom half of it deliberately to make him tip his chin down to look over that to see where he's going? These are the tricks you use to keep your head low when you're a rookie pilot.
In skeleton, something you might not be able to tell when you're viewing is if your chin is on the ice and you're going into a curve that's a vertical wall, you can only see a few meters in front of you. And so they'll fog up, they'll put a line, they'll put different things on their visor to make sure they keep their chin down because that's fast.
Led by the veteran German slider. And Joe Caccini from representing Italy, but from Calgary in Canada.
Sneaky Canadian. He is a one-man team. He's representing Italy, a program that has struggled since after the 2006 Torino Olympic Games. Closed both of their tracks, which is unfortunate because I love the gelato in Cesana.
Cortina, such a legendary track as well.
Now Joe's having a bit of a rough ride here, but he is safe for a top 20 finish.
55.18, that's a tenth of a second quicker than in his first heat, and the start was just a fraction slower, so it's all about improving the drive. You can see he is a really big, strong athlete. You could easily see him bulking up a little over the summer and becoming a bobsled athlete.
Shooting up into 17 there, really high. The problem with that line is you drop and then you come back again on the end.
He's so tall and so wide, you can't actually see the sled under his shoulders. He is so far forward, the sled vanishes totally. I look at him, he's a mountain.
You know what the problem there is? Then you hit a wall and it's shoulder first. That's not the bunk taking the hit.
It's always shoulder first. You move so much on the sleds, you think the sled's hitting the wall. Well, next up, Canada's Barrett Martineau, a World Cup rookie, made his first ever start a little over an hour ago. And here we go. Hopefully, some of those nerves and jitters will have gone, and he'll be able to really relax into this and enjoy the experience.
Something that gets lost at this level if you're not careful. And as we were talking about before during the break, you have Lizzie Arnold and Noelle Pacas-Pace that just come out and dominate. And what do they have besides their size and ability to relax? They love it. When you love the sport, it shows in your sliding.
I tell you how much he's relaxing into this second run. First start, 5.17. Second start, 5.07. That is how much looser he is at the second start.
Working out some jitters. He steered a little bit hard on the entrance at 10. Then you saw that diagonal line up to the end, caught pressure on the end of the turn.
He's easing in front of Joe Caccini. Couple of hundreds at every clock, but he is easing in front, and he's continuing to drive away from the Italian. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to slip back. You want to try and make up spots.
Right, it's easy to get caught up. Wow, he found a lot of time there at the bottom.
He was 100th in front of Caccini after the first heat. Again, 0.4 of a second improvement pretty much. That's how much more relaxed he is. It's not his World Cup debut. That was an hour ago.
No, and it is very important. Just for sports psychology, you're only looking ahead. You can't let your mind drift to the person behind you chasing you. Coming out of Benham's Bend,
so once again,
just a little bit of a left knee would have kept him off that right wall, safety steer, but if you gamble, you risk a hit and drift.
How much more relaxed is he? That run would have put him 10th in the first heat.
Wow.
That's how much more relaxed he is.
Wait till Calgary.
First man on the ice today was Hiro Takahashi. Now, he too had good reason to be nervy. This is a track with a tough reputation. It doesn't take prisoners, it doesn't suffer fools, and he was first man out of the starting shed. So let's see too, despite his experience, how nervy he was first slide of the pro season. Let's see if he can find a little bit more pace this time.
Now with Lake Placid's reputation, essentially the first gladiator to jump into the ring with the beast of Lake Placid, you have no idea what to expect on race day. All he saw was some extremely shiny ice.
First man out of the shed, you're the crash test dummy. You're the one that shows everybody else where the danger points are, so you can understand if he was a little tight.
Now this can be difficult to tell as a spectator, but watch for him to just relax and flow with it. You don't want to see limbs coming out. Look at the confidence. He is doing great. That's a great chicane.
Really nice run. 117 kilometers an hour, 72.7 miles an hour. Great run from Hiro Takahashi. Wow, big improvement on his first run by 3/4 of a second. He takes the lead with 17 still to come in Lake Placid.
So his start time of 5:07, not ballistic, but he made it up in the middle portion of the track as he is known to do. Up next,
so Hiro Takahashi, like the first two guys we've seen, much more fluid in this second run, Bree.
Yeah, you see him shaking his head, not in disappointment, but in the fact that he wishes he could have had that run on the first go.
Shoots the chicane nicely. Look how much further in front he's looking. You're not dealing with what you're doing, it's what's coming up. World Cup rookie Kilian von Schleinitz from Bavaria. Looks about 12.
A whisper of a mustache there.
New boy in the German team. Well, that was the whole of Movember there. And his brother races in the German luge team. He was here last week. He's in Calgary this week. What a young family this is.
This is someone that I would ID for the future. Of course, all the German athletes coming from luge, they all have that experience being thrown off a mountain at a young age.
Again, rather. First heat, 5:11. Second heat, 5:06.
Wow.
Much more relaxed.
And we could also be seeing the ice conditions speed up. It is getting colder as it gets later in the day. There is a weather system, but the entire track is covered. Huge investment by Tony Carlino and this fabulous track crew in Lake Placid.
Yeah, heads up to them. They've done such a sterling job keeping this track in A1 shape all day, all week. And he has dropped behind von Schleinitz.
In the red.
Yes, he is.
Uh-oh. Late into 17.
We saw how relaxed the first three guys were compared to their first runs, and Hiro Takahashi will hold the lead. Ooh. And von Schleinitz drops to third. Hiro may be out in the snow a little longer in the leader's box. So Kilian von Schleinitz, he's from just outside Koenigsee in Bavaria, where the Koenigsee track is. We'll be going to during the early spring, late winter. Racing at home in Bavaria will be a lot more familiar for him than his first time here in Lake Placid.
His head is tucked coming out of Benham's Bend. That's a blind spot. You're really just hoping as you exit that you're not about to crush the right wall.
Congratulations to our women competitors.
Kilian von Schleinitz in third place, a little quicker than his first heat. Not as big an improvement as Barrett Martineau or Hiro Takahashi, who head the field at the moment. Well, here's a familiar face. We've seen a lot of rookies in the World Cup opener this weekend. Christopher Groth of Germany, former junior world champion. This is third season at World Cup level. Again, he'll be disappointed with only 16th place at the start, Brischaff.
Yeah, and we're talking about just another average junior world champion from this German program. Seems to be a prerequisite to make the World Cup team.
Well, that's a much better getaway, 5:04.
I think we are seeing some faster ice here. Sparks! That's exciting.
They've cut through the ice right down to the concrete now. So many hits on that side wall.
Beautiful shots here on a lovely evening in Lake Placid. He's looking really smooth, much more confident than the first heat, but he's falling back high on the end of Shady.
He's gone behind. He had an 1800s advantage from the first heat over Takahashi. He's now behind, which means he's already 2/10 slower on this run alone.
Breaking a little bit into a skid in the chicane. He's just going to keep losing time.
Christopher Groth in second at the moment. He's not going to catch Hiro Takahashi, who continues to lead as he climbs the order. Groth in second. Barrett Martineau of Canada lies in third. Groth, if he was disappointed with 16th after the first heat, will be disappointed to have slipped even from that position. That much is evident in the body language.
The Germans did have a tough year last year. Great low profile, but watch for these sparks as the ice has been worn off the short wall, and that is steel on concrete. But look at him, how collected he is going up into four now.
You were after 3?
Head first, Ed Smith at the top of the hill here. 15th place after the first heat of our two heats. Season opener of the Viessmann FIBT Men's Skeleton World Cup. Well, with teammates watching trackside and back home in Europe, Ed's chance to try and reassert himself in the GB Skeleton squad. 15th after heat 1.
5:15 start. We are seeing consistently faster starts. Uh-oh, flop off the 2. Coming into the Devil's Highway, this is a portion of the track that it's really important to relax and flow with it. If you have a good entrance, an exit of turn 4, then you do not have to do much through there.
I think Ed's not feeling the love from the Lake Placid track today. Trying to keep his form.
He's lost a lot of time to Takahashi.
Yeah, he is down to 5th position. This is going to drop him right to the tail of the field. That is going to be a tough one to take. 55.05, just 0.02 of a second better than his first heat. We've seen improvements of 4, 5, 6, 8 tenths from some of his rivals.
And that's not an indication of a bad run. By all things, he had a decent run. It's just Takahashi came out and had a stellar second run.
Again, we have Takahashi still on the leader box. He's moved up at least 4
Great reverse reflection there of the start ahead of him in his helmet.
A disappointing day for Ed Smith. He's going to have to put this one behind him and move on to Calgary and try and find a little something to just relax and enjoy the ride. And perverse as it seems, with the head stuck out in front of you at 75 miles an hour, that is the key. It's all about enjoyment. With that comes the fluidity you need to produce the speed. Stephen Garbett of the USA, World Cup rookie, 13th place after his first heat. Helps that it's home ice here in Lake Placid, but all the hoopla, the noise, the cameras, all the drama of a World Cup race, that is added distraction. There was your leader, Hiro Takahashi. Here's the man trying to unseat him.
Just like toddlers, athletes are addicts to routine. You need that. And the problem is, when it's your World Cup debut, this is not routine. It is all new, and it is so distracting if you don't know how to maintain a focus and slide like you always have.
We talked about being tight in Heat 1. He started 5:23, 22nd start. His start here, 5:15, a tenth of a second better.
Ooh. But he's even with the pace now. But on the first run, he found a ridiculous amount of time at the bottom of the track.
Needs to find that again. He's only 300s behind Hiro Takahashi.
Looking good. All right, there we go, 200s. And a little bit of back and forth skidding through the chicane. 118.4 kilometers an hour.
That is really fast, 73.6 miles an hour. He takes the lead away from Hiro Takahashi.
Whoa.
Finds the pace at the bottom on the right. Coach Tuffy Latour is happy with that.
That would have put him in 5th place on the first heat.
Yeah. There you go, and that is the nerves of the day, you know? I expect he didn't sleep too well. I expect he was pretty tight at the top. He's relaxing into it. Maybe the track's a whisker more polished, a little quicker, but you still got to use it.
His form is great here as he tries to just wish the sled straight.
And does he panic? He does not. Look, he's looking ahead. His body's ahead. He knows it's coming back, and he's got top speed to take the lead. Steve Garbett of the USA is our race leader.
USA.
Veteran Katsuhiro Koshi holds the sled for compatriot Yuki Sasahara. Koshi sat after sliding skeleton for better than 20 years, now bringing on the new breed for Japan. And of course, for the Japanese, Korea is as close to a home games as they're going to get in perhaps a long while.
That's a huge story. I mean, could you imagine if you're a Korean athlete and you're anticipating a home Olympics and they're putting so much into that program to find out that it's going to get handed over to your neighbor?
I don't see it happening, but
No.
Stranger things happen in sports management. Whatever, Sasahara right on the pace here with Garbett.
He is behind
halfway through curve 10.
Now he's having a bit of a sloppy run, 1900ths behind as he drops out of Shady. If he can have a clean 12, he might be able to gain.
He was tied to the 100th with Steve Garbett in the first heat, and this deficit is all on this run alone.
Oh, and he has lost a lifetime on this one run.
This is going to drop him to the tail of the field.
Oh.
7th out of the 8 sliders that have come down so far, so effectively probably 19th in the field. Well, Steve Garbett, again, you know, the nerves of the first ever World Cup start, I'm sure affected his first heat. He found a way of undoing that in heat 2 that Sasahara didn't.
What better way to celebrate getting those nerves out than hanging out in the winner's box for a while?
Shoveling, roller chiseling.
Now, he's a little low in Shady. You can see him coming up high on the exit. He drops out, but his head does come up. Now, that's the pressure release. You are fighting the pressure that whole turn, and if you don't just kind of ease up on fighting it, your head's going to pop up on the end.
Representing Team Great Britain.
Well, Yuki Sasahara heads off to get changed as at the top of the ice, Dom Parsons of Great Britain. Ex-US slider Eric Bonotis now coaching the British skeleton squad. 12th place after the first heat. 1500s faster, he'd have been in the top 10. He had a drama at the start, was settled onto the sled and got hot sideways out of the groove. He's in the same groove this time, Bree Schaff.
He is, and no one just, he's a gambler, clearly, and who wouldn't be coming into a sport like this?
So he's going to try and get doubly settled, and he's ready for the kick that doesn't come, so he negated that. 499, that's a very good start from him as well.
With a great start, and that better entrance into 1 could mean that he climbed some spots here, but he was a little bit early on turn 3 there.
Scared the wall a little. Well, track temperature's been -5 all day long. It could just be that as the sun has dropped below Whiteface Mountain, it is getting colder, harder, and faster.
Beautiful line there coming out of Shady early. Oh no! That's a bucket Bronco into 11-12.
Podium in Calgary to start last season. He's not going to be on the podium here, but can he at least hold on to his top 12 finish in front of Steve Garbett?
Oh, he's already back.
He's behind, and it's not coming back in the final corner. That's a big deficit. Garbett stays in the leader's box. Dom Parsons slumps 2 spots.
He lost half of a second in curve 12. A lot of people have nightmares about that curve. If you don't catch the pressure just right, I used to take a little insurance toe tap to get on early. Really important to be on early so you can catch that mysterious little pressure in the middle. So here he comes out of 11 too early. He hits a take on at that point. You know you're going straight to the end of the turn, flying straight up.
Yeah, that little tap puts you in the ditch instead of on a nice line up the hill. But gravity is going to take you up there anyway. Dry smile from Dom Parsons, some high fives down to the bottom from the fans. And at the top of the track is our 11th fastest man in Heat 1, Alexander Mutovin of Russia. Big smile from him. Again, short on World Cup experience. He won't have had too many trips down this Lake Placid track. Stephen Garbett could be riding his second run all the way into the top 10 at this rate.
Mutovin, you know, he's short on World Cup experience, but he's been sliding a long time. This is someone that I used to compete with on World Cup. Started a long time ago, and it's cool to see that he's hung out that long. I mean, it really is a lifestyle in other countries.
Good start from him, 495. He was 3rd fastest starter in the first heat. He's gone a little quicker.
But he is squirrely on his sled right now.
You know, I'm sure there's a hint of the Billy Schneider influence in all these Russian sliders. Set it up to be wild and fast and make them learn to handle it. That's the Schneider school of hard knocks.
And bandage the bruises later.
Yeah. 1:16.8 is not bad speed, but a 4:10 lead is down to less than that. It's now in the red. He's going to drop 2 places. Garbett and Takahashi still the top 2 with 10 to come as Alexander Mutovin drops into 3rd place. So we're seeing sliders who had a good first run have a disappointing second one, and those who've had a bad first run improving immeasurably in the second, and that's leading to all the changes.
We are seeing some really interesting shuffling here. So that sideways drift and sparks. I love that steel on the cement there.
If you're walking down Main Street, check out the Lake Placid Olympic Museum. Grab an
You know
Olympic
that the
site
track workers will be in
passport.
there with the liquid ice and filling that gap for the morning. So 10 down, 10 to go, and Stephen Garbett, the World Cup rookie, is our race leader, hoping for a top 10 finish to race 1.
It's a 2-minute warning to Matthias. 2 minutes to Matthias Guggenberger representing
The lights are
Team
on
Austria.
all the way down this Lake Placid track. The sun is a thing of memory until sometime in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And again, the conditions are just perfect. This little bit of drifting snow is not getting into the track, isn't on the running surface. This is increasingly an advantage to tracks that have got full coverage. Here, La Plania, lots of them now with covers all the way down. It keeps the playing surface fair for everybody.
And really helps with the anxiety in your race setup coming into a race. A lot of times when you have a track that's uncovered, like say Koenigsegg, I mean, you're sitting there. I used to polish multiple sets of runners. We had no idea what was going to be happening the next morning.
Well, you can see Matthias Guggenberger on the left and Martin Rettel counting down the 2-minute wait on the right. This is a standard advertising window during the run before the top 10 go. So they know in their pre-race warm-up exactly how long they're going to be there waiting for their go. So Stephen Garbett, you saw him in the leader's box, looking pretty happy with that. Second quickest start in the field so far who've come down. But we will see the fastest starters in action right towards the end of the run. Because generally, Brischaff, fast start equals fast slide.
Especially on this track.
See the Latvian flags down the bottom. That might give you a clue as to who 2 of our top 3 are. The Dukos brothers. Martin's in first, and Thomas in 3rd. Matthias Guggenberger getting ready, and still a lot of fans at the side of this Lake Placid track, ready to watch the action.
Start number 1. Start 1 for Matthias Guggenberger representing Team Austria.
10 to go as we get ready to decide the first medal of the Viessmann FIBT Skeleton Men's World Cup. Martin Haven alongside me, US Olympic slider Brischaff. Top of the ice, Matthias Guggenberger, 10th after the first heat.
Gugi, as they call him, had a tough season last year, struggled with a back injury, and you could see in his sliding how uncomfortable that made him. You're dealing with G-force that is pressing on your whole body, and it is really hard to maintain that relaxed nature on a sled when you're in pain.
Stephen Garbett is our race leader. Garbett coming out of a tied 13th place in the first heat. He was a quarter of a second back on Guggenberger. Googie is accelerating away. The advantage now nearly double that. See, it's 4/10 up, down to 3600s. Good speed though.
Almost got the chicane there. You can see his experience. He's having a pretty clean run here.
Should be enough to take the lead at the line, and it is by only 1100s, which is not to say that Stephen Garbett won't yet get a top 10 finish. We could see a few more changes, but Matthias Guggenberger will hold on at least to his position, and he might move up the order a fraction.
In World Cup, everything is so tight, coming down to the hundreds, and especially when you come to the second heat, a lot of room for some truffle shuffling in the order.
We've just seen his teammate take a bronze medal, Janine Flock, in the women's race.
Oh, he's looking like he's about to nail it. You know, head down, great profile, but you can feel the sled pulling right. Sticks the leg out, trying to fix it.
It's like driving a race car. He knows it's going to break away even before we see it happening.
Oh, you can feel it in your belly, and it's not just a gut feeling. That's where you're feeling the pressure.
Now here is the man mountain of the squad. Canada's Dave Grzesin. The grizzly bear on his helmet is well chosen. The 400mm, couple of millimeter long spikes on the bottom of the Adidas training shoes are what give them the grip for the speed on the ice at the start. A great run to 9th place in his first slide of the season.
That was also a great shot of Shugu, another very important element of the skeleton toolkit, because you are dropping toes here and there to correct yourself, and you'll wear a hole in some pretty expensive shoes if you don't protect them.
500 to the improvement in his start time. Grzesin is going after this like a grizzly that smells a picnic hamper.
Oh, that was a technically perfect 3-4, and he's looking good, back in the green.
400's up on Guggenberger from heat 1. He's now 500's up in total elapsed time for the 2 runs. Can't afford any mistakes.
He's having a great run, just snakes through 10, 11, 12.
A fraction quicker than Googie. It might just be enough to keep his nose in front of the line. Stretch that neck to the line, Grizz. He's going to take it. He does by a whisker. 200ths of a second quicker than Guggenberger on this run. 400s on the first run. Total margin 600. Guarantees a top 10 finish in his first ever World Cup. Well, listen, with his teammate taking the silver medal in the women's race, Canada, which was cut off at the knees with all its funding withdrawn from skeleton, is fighting back.
That left leg up there hanging in the air is an indicator of the right leg hammering on a steer, trying to get out of that turn.
Elizabeth Arche took the silver medal on her debut. Grizz guaranteed at least 9th place on his.
What's great too is to see the excitement of a top 10 finish. You know, a lot of times you think people come out, you know, when the people that say, oh, you didn't medal at the Olympics and they feel bad for you. No, there's a bigger picture here, and this is a really competitive field. A top 10 finish is great.
Here is our live wire from the Austrian team. Raphael Meyer. Talk about enjoying his life. He is just the joker in the pack. Also lies in 8th place. Off a disappointing start, only 20th fastest, and yet 8th at the bottom of the track. If he can find another 10th at the start, he will be a real world challenger.
And we've seen that in the women's field. You know, we saw Marion T's ability to come back from a start deficit. That's a lot, that's rare in men's, and so it's pretty cool to see him come out and be in the top 10 after a slower start.
Former ski jumper turned to a much safer prospect, deliberately heading downhill, head first.
The relief of his mother when he finally chose skeleton over jumping off a cliff.
But he's 2300s back from 200s behind at the start. Grizz is going to stay in the leader's box, and we'll see that very clean 1900s.
He found it at the bottom before. This could get interesting.
And 1.5 kilometers quicker through the chicane. This tiny kid from Austria could nick it. Oh, and it does.
That's incredible.
Yeah! The run exactly the same as Dave Grzesin. He hangs on only by his first heat advantage, but he does have the lead with 7 to come. Raphael Meyer is our race leader.
A little bit of snow falling, the sun is setting, although we haven't seen it all day, which is good. The leaves and
look
the trees
at
are
Raphael
covered with
Meyer.
snow. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
day here
baby.
in Lake Placid. Thanks everybody for coming out. Don't go anywhere. We are just
Matthias Guggenberger giving him big hugs. That was a good run off a disappointing start.
10 minutes away from the top athlete.
This is a great chicane. The speed, 118.4, tied US's Garbett.
Top of the ice with 7 to go. Yes, yet another World Cup rookie. This is Pavel Kulikov of Russia. And that wry smile is something we may be seeing a lot of. We talked in the first heat about how this guy looked like he was plugged into the mains. He is so amped up, which is excellent for the start.
You see that in his explosion off the block, but the key is going to be laying down and just melting into the sled and now relaxing on the rest of his run. Was he ever a bobsled brakeman? Because that's the antics that you usually see in a bobsled race. The grunting, the slapping, bruising his quads.
Good start, 5.06. That's an improvement on his first heat. And he transforms from this beast into this zen oasis of calm. He's so quiet on the sled.
Letting it ride there through the Devil's Highway.
Third of a second.
Now there are so many ways to take Shady 2, so many different lines. As long as you come out clean without pressure and don't hit, you're set up well for turn 12. Coming out of Benham's Bend, whoa, he anticipated being shaky.
And he doesn't have the speed. He's 2 kilometers down on Rafael Meyer of Austria. He's hold the lead to the line. Meyer will lead. How far will he drop down to the fifth position?
He lost a lot of time.
Yes, he did. He wasn't quite as zen as he was in the first heat.
Nope, it was just an overall sloppy run. He bled all the way down, but it didn't show until that last split.
He was 4/10 slow on that second heat. And that's the experience, is getting 2 consecutive heats that are good.
You have to meter your excitement. You can't come in too fired up. You saw how high he is there in 5 in the Devil's Highway, and he comes off, or sorry, that's 6 going into 7. And now dancing his way through the chicane behind the beat.
Yeah. He needs a few 2-step lessons from you, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yes, ma'am. So, Alex Jung at the top of the hill, another young rookie from Germany who just happens to be a former junior world champion in men's skeleton as well. Yeah, he's got that stamp on the passport. So what can he produce? 6th after his first heat, 3rd fastest start in the field.
And Martin, that's something that we haven't seen out of a German skeleton athlete in a long time, is a fast starter. A lot of these guys have such crazy good driving skills that they've been able to count on that.
Need to be the real deal at the start and on the run, and that's another good getaway. 4.90, 4.98 first heat. He sized nearly a 10th off his start.
Talk about working out some jitters. We could see an incredible run here.
Well, only one man can outstart him, and that is our event leader. That is some start from Alex Jung.
Taking the high line through Shady's, he drops out.
He's 3/4 of a second in front.
Oh, wow.
Is he a secret Duco's brother? What's going on with this kid?
He found the passcode to the track. There is a warp zone if you know the passcode. Not too many people do.
1:17.4. He's hacked into it. He didn't have quite the speed, but he is going to leave Rafael Meyer way behind. 54.16. 4/10 of a second of an improvement, 1/10 of which came from the start. That is an epic run from Alex Jung, and that threatens the medals. I'm saying it now, this kid is going to win medals this season unless one of his legs falls off. And look at that. Just so bashful about the whole deal.
This is a very casual endeavor for him. Dropping out of Benham's Bend, head low, great form. That's the experience of athletes that come from luge. They know how to be relaxed on a sled and not freak out if they're about to take a hit.
Man, Alex Jung, Rafael Meyer, and Dave Krzyzewski are top 3.
Touch you clear the track. The track is now clear for the finish to start number 1. Start 1.
5 to go in Lake Placid. We now are going to decide the medals. Anton Batuev with encouragement from his Russian teammates, ready to take on the double Olympic track. Batuev lying half a second out of a medal position. It's a big ask. Staying in front of current leader Alex Junk of Germany is also right now a big ask.
When you're standing on the start line, you know, some people watch the time, some people don't, but that would be really tough to see someone lay down a heat like that. It's going to take you out of your zone.
Well, Batchev had an 800s lead, starts 0.2 of a second slower than Jung. He knows he's on the back from the start, hits the wall, he's half a second down.
He's also looking to have a great showing here to stay on the Russian squad when they get over to Europe.
1200s behind at the start. He's already 3 times that, nearly 5 times that. Further back.
Wow. All things considered, we're not looking at a terrible run here. That's just how incredible a run Axel had.
7th, 117.4, same speed as Axel.
Oh! Ouch!
Wow. Downtime for
10th fastest slide of 54.81. Goodness me, that was a very loose run from Anton Batchev when he really needed to have one that flowed in all the right places. Batchev drops to 3rd behind Raphael Meyer and Axel Jung.
Next, the top 4 competitors from run number 1. 2 Americans sit in that group, so let's hear some
You don't need to speak Russian, you can read it in his face.
Team USA.
Climbing up high. The line is going to the top and the turn is coming down, and he just tags that short. Wow, that is painful. He is going to have some serious bruises.
Hit before the line, just added insult and injury. Axel Jung of Germany, our leader. Kyle Tress of the USA, 4th after the first heat. One of 2 Americans in the top 4 and 2 Latvians. Can Kyle Tress break into the World Cup medals here in Lake Placid? That would be a huge day.
This is a really exciting position to see Kyle, and I don't think he's ever finished in the top 4 in World Cup, and it would be so fun to do this on his home track.
5:11 start, gives away a fraction to Axel Jung.
A little bit unstable going into 4, but if anyone can bring it back, it's Kyle. He's had so many runs on this track.
2300s back, he needs perfection now.
Kyle's great at really enjoying this experience. He had the time of his life at the Olympics, and of course, just wanted to come back for more.
2800s back, 1:17.0. That is slower than the current leader.
He's running out of track, but that was a beautiful chicane.
He's going to be in 2nd spot ahead of Raphael Meyer. Top 6 finish guaranteed. That might well be his best ever World Cup result. But Axel Jung or David Beckham, I'm not sure which, stays in the leader's box with 3 to go. Well, Jung on his World Cup debut is always going to be producing his best ever result, even if it's 20th. However, he is, like Elizabeth Valle of Canada, on the verges of greatness here.
You know, Kyle might have dropped a spot. That was a great finish for him, though.
Zach Lunt, quick to tell him so.
Much as turnover, a big part of pushing a sled, you're accelerating an object over ice. That's not the same as sprinting. Although it does use a lot of the same sprint technique that transfers over.
Kyle Tress in 2nd place. Alex Jung leads with 3 to go, all of whom have excelled themselves here in the first of our 2 heats in Lake Placid. Currently lying in the bronze medal position for Latvia is Tomas Dukurs, the older of the pair of Dukurs brothers.
Now, Tomas Dukurs, he's a pretty confident guy, you know, coming from the notorious Latvian sliding brothers. But I wonder if he watched Axel's run and got a little bit nervous.
4:95, quicker than his first start, but Axel Jung outstarted him with a 4:90. However, he did still have a big advantage, Dukurs, when he laid down. He was 6/10 up, and he remains clear.
Dukurs had a huge lead the podium positions were really quite separate from the other positions in this race. In the second heat, he is one of the taller athletes, and you can see him going through a corner. If you're too tall, sometimes your toes do touch in a turn.
1:18.2, second fastest to Rafael Meyer. He was 67 hundredths up from the first heat. He's 3/4 of a second clear now. A full second is the margin. Axel Jung gets pushed out, and we may not see him on the medal podium. 53.83, just 600ths of a difference between that and his first run. In improvement, but that shows how close to perfection the Ducours brothers are every time on ice.
The Ducours take an Olympic sport and they make it a professional sport. It's a profession for them.
It's the family business. Their father Dennis runs the track at Sigulda in Latvia.
What a track that is.
There's his dad. He runs their team, and the boys just feed off the family atmosphere.
Ducours not as explosive at the start as his brother Martins, but he's still had the second fastest start of the first heat. And in Lake Placid, that's a big advantage.
And he has the lead of the race with 2 to go. We have our World Cup champion from the last 3 seasons and our track record holder first. Shivers for Bree Schaff alongside me as her former teammate Matt Antoine now shoots for the first gold of the season. 1/10 of a second between him and Martins Ducours at the top of the pile in the first heat.
Matt is in the position right now representing the world versus the Ducours. 4.99 start, that's a big improvement, 300.
If that's not his first ever 5-second, sub-5-second start, I'll be surprised. This is a game or nothing now for Matt Antoine. It's win it or bin it. 1400ths deficit though to Thomas Ducours. Can he bring it back?
This is a tight race in the top 3. He's 2100ths back right now, but there is time to be found at the bottom if he can keep a perfect run going.
Ducours was 500 slower in the first heat than Matt Antoine, but he's got the advantage at the moment. The gap's coming down. 189. That's good speed, quicker than Thomas Ducours.
He had the best curve 12 that we've seen all day.
Fastest man out of the chicane, Matt Antoine. Is he going to close the gap? Enough! More than enough. 54.02 slide. It is going to be a Latvian that leads and a Latvian that takes the gold medal. But will Matt Antoine take silver or bronze? He is guaranteed a podium finish to start the season.
Matt came out last year and won this race, and that was his first win. So of course he came in today wanting to win, but a podium finish with the Ducours brothers, that's still a big deal. Matt's long bounding legs at the start. And just a little dangle of a toe there as he feather dances through the chicane, just a little bit too far behind at the top to make up for it.
We're going to have a Ducours winning the first race of the season. Thomas Ducours leads. Martin Ducours, Superman, has the advantage from the first heat. Well, Martins Ducours, last year's World Cup champion, start this year's campaign with yet another win.
Here's a guy that just has made a career of winning race after race. But the 2 races that he has not managed to win, the Olympic Games in 2010 and again in 2014. So a person that you might see take it easy in a post-Olympic year, I wager he's still angry. Sparks out of him too, coming out of 3.
He doesn't do taking it easy until he lies down. Everything else is all about the enjoyment of this minute.
He's having a great run. He's the one that writes the textbook on skeleton. Great starts.
He's coming down. 2500s at the start. Where are we now? 2800s. He's solidified. Whoa! 119.2. He's cruising to victory unless he throws it away in the final corner.
He can finish on his back and he would still win right now.
He'll crash once every couple of seasons, but not today as he wins by 0.3 of a second. A family 1-2. Latvia 1-2. Martins Ducours wins. Thomas Ducours takes a silver medal, and Matt Antoine third for the USA.
Alex Young, the top 6 athletes.
Winning does not get old when you are as competitive and when it's your family business.
What was his winning streak? 13 wins in all competitions in a row. You know, that's a season and a half undefeated going into last year. The World Championships won in St. Moritz the previous season by Alexander Tretyakov, broke his winning streak, but the World Cup wins kept coming. And then, of course, Tretyakov then, and now the reigning world champion, also won the Olympic gold medal.
It was a very eager anti-doping agent making sure that he knew that he had to come anti-doping after.
Absolutely.
Very awesome two-man race. This women's
Great start. Martins Ducours outstarting himself. He's the fastest man over the sprint. The fastest man down the ice in both runs to run away and claim the first gold medal of the season here in Lake Placid. So here is how they finished. Martins Ducours 0.3 of a second in front of brother Thomas. Matt Antoine 1/1400ths behind on the podium in third position. Axel Jung, Kyle Tress and Raphael Meyer rounding out the top half dozen, and some stellar performances from the rookies again in the season opener. Well, fun for the rookies. Matt Antoine, last year's winner, behind the Ducours brothers here today. But Axel Jung for Germany in 4th place. And also Dave Grzeziec, the Canadian, 8th spot. And again, Stephen Garbett in 10th position on his World Cup debut. I mean, those are all great results for rookie sliders.
They are. Any top 10 in World Cup is something to celebrate, especially on a debut.
A couple of disappointing runs. I don't think Don Parsons or Ed Smith of Great Britain will be looking back with great delight on this race. Neither Christopher Grothair of Germany, the rookie Kullian von Schleinitz, maybe a little disappointed with 17th place, but there were some really standout performances, and Axel Jung very nearly claiming a medal on his debut.
That was a great run to watch.
Yes, it was. He ended up 1.3 seconds back from a very tight lead group, but he was definitely the best of the rest, 0.3 ahead of Kyle Tress. And again, for Kyle, you know, 5th position to start the season. You'll take that and build on it next week in Calgary.
Right, and Kyle knows Calgary really well, really well also, because, you know, these North American tracks, even your first few seasons, you're doing America's Cup and you get a lot of time there.
Well, the Canadian program may have a funding of 0, but the morale as they leave Lake Placid will be sky high. Dave Grzeziec producing a stellar result, and Elizabeth Vache, the silver medal in the women's skeleton. That is just going to see them in high spirits tonight. I think they might be down in zigzags on Main Street, enjoying a little post-race remedial.
And in a post-Olympic year, they should. You know, you cannot get too intense too soon.
Sun has set, the lights are on the Lake Placid track as we finish the first day's action of the season. Martins Ducours wins the gold and takes the World Cup lead in the Viessmann men's skeleton competition. Brother Thomas lies 2nd. Matt Antoine of the USA ahead of rookie Axel Jung. Kyle Tress, his best World Cup result, 5th. And Raphael Meyer found the speed on the long Lake Placid track to drive his way into 6th position. So our top 3 on the winner's dock receiving their flowers. And the familiar faces of Matt Antoine, Thomas and Martins Ducours. Martins Ducours, so often a race winner, starting to lose count now of his total World Cup victories. But again, a stellar start. He outstarted everybody and outdrove everybody here in Lake Placid. And the only thing missing in his victory was the ability to beat the world and the Olympic champion as he raced to the gold medal. That will come. Alexander Tretyakov is fit, he is racing, he is in Europe, but he is not hiding from the contest. That will come after Christmas and through the winter and spring, culminating in the World Championships in Germany in February and March. Well, the world champion and Olympic champion may not be here, but our top three are. Let's join Tim Singer.
Right, Martin. In fact, they finished 2, 3, 4 at the Olympic Games. 1, 2, 3 to open up this World Cup season. Third place for Matt, Antoine, and Matt. You admitted to me just a moment ago you're a little disappointed. That tells me your expectations are sky high this year.
They are. They're a lot higher after last season, obviously, and being my home track. I expected more of myself this weekend. Had a bit of trouble with consistency all week in training, and it translated into today's race. I wouldn't really consider those 2 good runs for me or 2 good pushes. So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a tough place to be, and it's not where I want to be right now.
Nonetheless, a World Cup medal. Congratulations. So they're proud in the United States, but they're celebrating from Riga to Sigulda. Tomas, you finished second. In fact, you and your brother have finished 1, 2 in World Cups 6 or 7 times now, and you told me you've always been number 2. What are you going to do about that?
Maybe next time we can switch. I go first, he second. But I should work on that. Starting with push, and also in track I got mistakes, so I need to put more efforts, and I hope it'll be okay.
What a great finish. And Martins, another race, another World Cup victory, and after every race you always pump your fist. It never gets old. It's always great, right?
Yeah, of course, every win counts and starts from the zero, and compared to training size, I put together 2 solid runs for me, compare how I was going in the trainings. Really tough track from the top to the bottom, but whole team did a good job, so thanks them.
A great showing. Martins Dukers, Tomas Dukers, and Matt Antoine, 1, 2, 3 in Lake Placid, and they lapped the field by a full second.
Martins Dukers has an uncanny ability to piece together bits of training runs and make the best count on race day. And yet again, he leads the World Cup rankings as we leave Lake Placid and the skeleton athletes head to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Bobsleigh for the 4-man and for the women comes up Saturday here in Lake Placid. Join us for that. Until then, my thanks to Bree Schaff, to Tim Singer, to the whole FIBT TV crew, and to you for joining us. We'll see you next time from Martin Haven. Bye-bye.